Hello, everyone. I'm Milena. I'm Cognos Analytics System Administrator. Tonight is our first session. We're going to cover a lot, but trust me, you will need to watch the recording more than once, all right? You will need to watch it more than once, trust me. Here is the agenda. I'm going to show you how to access environment, how to get started. I'm going to show you how to navigate the interface. We're going to talk about dataset versus data module, data preparation, data exploration. All right. Then remember, you have a short videos playlist in the classroom and always opportunity to ask questions. Okay. So what is Cognos Analytics? Well, that's a self-service with intuitive web interface. So basically, without writing any R code or without writing any Python code, it extracts useful insights from your data. And it just supports the data exploration, as I said, without writing code. What you could do is just drag and drop fields, bang, you got your insights, all right? So then, based on visualization you're looking at, it's going to recommend you suggested visualization. You may build interactive dashboards and stories, which is going to be the next session topic, right? Then you can see what data is actually being visualized. Well, you can also do reports, but this is outside the scope, but you know that you can do it, right? So now you're going to avoid using browser back button because that could result in workloads, right? Then remember that there is no recycle bin. If you delete something, it cannot be undone. Then what happens if you delete data, the visualizations that use the data as a source are going to become invalid permanently. Cannot. Then unfortunately, you cannot copy and paste the text from your PC directly. There is a clipboard tool. Always save your work and please do yourself a favor. Start working on assignments early. All right? So now I'm going to show you how to access it. You're going to take this URL, right? vdi.umgc.edu and put this in a browser, right? So you're going to put this here, vdi.umgc.edu. You put it here. Oops. Okay, what it's doing here is this. For me, because I'm a faculty, it will always, sometimes it asks me to enter the code from my phone, but probably it's not going to do it for you. But for the faculty, sometimes they have two-factor authentication here. So, but if you're logged into the classroom, right, you'll use the same credentials to log into vdi.umgc.edu. Only this step. So this takes you to the Citrix, right? So it's on here, right? So you know how to get there. Then you're going to see little shortcut for the Cognos. But how do you access actual Cognos? All right, so does everyone know your university username? Well, the way it works is you got your student email, right? Everybody has an email that ends with @student.umgc.edu, right? The first part of that email is going to be a university username that you use as a login. Password is welcome. So that's how you remember. But password must have at least one number. So what I did was number 3 on the keyboard is located right above letter E, right? So I just put number 3. Then I put an exclamation point as a special character and first letter capitalized. Everybody will have the same password, okay? But here is just an example on how to get your username. So, but for this purpose of this demonstration, I'll use the special account that I created for the demo because my account is an admin account, right? So I need to use an account for this demo with the same privileges as yours. So now let's start in Cognos. Okay. Another thing to be aware of, well, it's not the case right now, but when you launch in your account for the first time, it might take a little bit longer because it's creating your profile, okay? Okay, so I'm going into my demo account. All right, sign in. So now what do I see here? On the landing page here, not right now, but later you will see the files that you had recently accessed. You're going to see a little tile representing a file that you have recently accessed, right? The content. There's two types of content, your content and the team content. My content, right, it's what I have access to only. My teammates do not have access to that location, right? My classmates, rather. My content. At the moment, I just have one data file in here that I'm going to use today for the demo. All right? Now, what else is here? This is a team content. Team content has files that are shared for everyone who is a member of data 610, let's say, right? So what files do I have in here? Some files are pre-installed, like calendar, getting started, and some of the samples. This was installed with Cognos. And here, this folder is the folder that I set up for you. I'm going to click in here. This folder has subfolders. I created subfolder for each assignment, right? And in each subfolder, you see the data sets that are for that specific assignment. For example, you have the first Cognos assignment this is the data here, all right? The first assignment is to show that you know how to access the application and how to use, all right? So this is for assignment 2, right? Housing data. Assignment 4 is the continuation of 3. So for assignment 3 and 4, you're going to choose one of these data sets, okay? And in the classroom, you're going to have, there are files, there's explanation, okay? Okay? You cannot hear me? People, can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. So what I had to do on my end, before doing this demo, I had to reboot, just me. That's what I had to do. All right. And here, this is a walkthrough data. If you'd like to, so that's this one, claims and weather, sample data set that I'm going to use tonight. This is if you want to follow along when you watch. Now, this is what you're going to do. This is a getting started folder, right, for the first assignment. You're going to go here, click here. This opens the context menu. You need to make a copy of this file to your content area. So to do that, you click on copy and move. Here, right, in the folder with a single guy, this is called my content, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on copy to, not move to, but copy to. If you click on move to, you're going to get an error because you have read-only access to the team content, right? Moving a file involves the deletion from original location, and you don't have write permission, so that's you're going to get an error. Do the copy to, all right? So now, how do I know that my file was copied? I click on my content, and I see my file here. For this assignment, right, for the first one, you're going to be working with the data set, right? And I'm going to talk about difference between data set and data module. But this is just the data set, all right? It's just the flat file. It's just a plain file that was loaded. It was loaded from CSV or Excel. Here, you're going to see what you had recently opened. Nothing at the moment, right? So let's go back to the slides for a minute. Oh, and see that, like at the top, you have that little thing that opens up. And that's where you get the clipboard tool. Oops, I cannot. Oh, here it is. See that there is a little open clipboard. So to copy paste, what you do is you copy from your PC into here, and then from here to whatever you want to copy. Okay? Because this is a remote computer, right? For security reason, copy paste directly, it does not work. Sometimes it does, but it should not, okay? You cannot copy paste text directly, just remember it. Okay. Now, that's a landing page, right? I showed you that. Another thing is this. See this welcome? At the moment, you don't see anything else, but when you start working with files, when you click on this arrow, you're going to see all files that you have currently opened. Okay, you're going to see everything that you have currently opened. Then clicking on the home is going to take you to this page that you're on right now. Clicking on this logo, well, it's not clickable here. Okay, now let's go back. Read that. I showed you how to access the data that I preloaded for you. I made it simple. Okay. Here is the data that we're going to look at today. The data, the purpose of the data is to estimate the total claim amount. So I have my customer data, which includes the demographics, the employment information, etc., the degree. Then it includes the information on the vehicle that the person is driving and the policy that the person signed up for. And based on that, we're trying to estimate the total claim amount. Oh, and I forgot to mention also the claim type, right? What claim type it was, collision or etc., right? So now note this blanks. The data has missing values. And also note that when effective due date is missing, it's also missing data in a bunch of other fields. So what we will do eventually is that we will want to filter rows where effective due date is missing. We're going to do that, right? And I'll show you how. But just know it. See, that's the data. And the missing values are going to show as null when you upload. So now I mentioned the data set and data module. For the first
I'm sorry, can you go back?
Yes.
You were fading out a little bit. So
right.
I didn't catch what you said there.
Okay, I was talking about this data. Do you see? The data has some missing values, right? Do you see that? This will be represented as null. In a data set, that will show as null, missing values, okay? But notice that when effective due date is missing, it is missing a lot of other fields too, right? So we're going to filter rows where effective due date is missing. Okay? Data set and data module. You can use data that was uploaded straight, no problem. But there is a problem. Because if you use the data that was uploaded straight, you cannot add any calculations to it. Then you will be adding the calculations directly to data exploration. The problem is, if I want to create another data exploration file, I would have to recreate all calculations. So that's the reason why we want to create the data module, where you can customize the data by adding filters and calculations. You can add the hierarchy. Then you can also add, well, a lot of stuff, the grouping, etc. Then the customizations that you make, they are reusable across multiple data exploration files and the dashboards, all right? Then you may also preview data directly. Then it's possible to combine multiple data sources. We're not doing it in this course, but it's possible, know that. Where data set, you cannot do customization and you cannot preview the data straight. Okay, just know that. So we are going to create a data module right now. The way you do that is, here is my content. There is a data, right? I click on this context menu here, and I'm going to select create data module. What's going to happen right now? All right, here I see the list of columns that are in my data. For each column, I see the different icon. The icon stands for the data type, right? Now, do you see this row ID? This column is grayed out. Why? Because this column is hidden from the user's view. It is visible in data module, and you may use it to create calculations in data module, but it is hidden from visualizations. When you use that data to create explorations or dashboard, you will not see this column. All right. Now for each columns, you got the properties, right? So if I go down to my total claim amount, right? If I don't see it, I can also do the search, right? I want to search for my field here, total claim amount. If I click on the properties, this is what I see here. That's a label, right? The label is how the column heading is displayed. Expression. Expression here means that I take the value from the file directly, right? There is a file that was read, and I take the value from that file straight, okay? I take it straight. Okay. Okay, got it? Now, next thing, usage is a measure. Well, because that's a numeric column, right? We can summarize it. That's why it's a measure. Aggregation tells us how this column is being summarized. When I look at the total claim amount, what am I interested in? Huh? What am I interested in when I'm looking at the aggregation? We are not interested to see the sum of all claim amount. We are interested to see the average. So I'm going to change it here, right? When I change it here, the change will be applicable to all visualizations where I use that data, okay? What else do I see it here? Well, this is in the advanced. You're gonna see, you can see here, supports null values. Sometimes if you have it checked, it means that your data has missing values. A screen tip, this is basically when you hover your mouse over the data field, what do you want to see, right? That's what it is. Comments, you can add some descriptions if you want to, all right? Here, you can show and hide the field, see? Hide, show, okay? Okay, I'll undo.
Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt you. Could you please explain the expression field again? What is
that
for?
Okay, basically, this is a spreadsheet that I'm reading the data from. This is a column name in a spreadsheet that is being read from that column. Later on, I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be changing it for one of the columns later on. But this is basically the result spreadsheet, right? As I showed you earlier, it was uploaded, the data was uploaded. This is a column name in the spreadsheet that is being read here. That's what it is, at a moment, only at a moment. Okay, yes. But I'm gonna do something later because income column has missing values. So I'm gonna add an expression to check if it's missing. I'm gonna set it to column average. I'm gonna do that later. Okay? And see this here, I can select the column and I can see properties this way too, right? There is more than one way to see the same thing, right? Oh, I forgot to do something very important, is to save it. If you see this little asterisk next to the name, it means that your last change has not been saved, right? So let's save it. I'm gonna go here, I do save. I need to click here to save it in my content. And let's call it claims and weather data module, right? Claims and weather data module. Okay, and I'm gonna click on save. So I'm saving this file. See, this is gonna show up here. Here I see what I have opened, right? I can go back to the home page, landing page, without clicking browser back button. And this is a data module I'm on now. You're gonna love these two buttons, undo, redo, right? You can undo several latest changes in this data module, okay? So here you click on grid. that will let you actually click here. Click on grid to preview the data, okay? Now that was that. Okay, that is just the overview of this interface, right? We talked about column properties, right? Well, and remember, aggregation type, it's important. It's how you summarize the column. Average, or for example, count distinct if you want to look at number of customers in specific state, right, etc. All right, so what is data preparation? Well, we add filters, right? Then we can hide certain columns from the view. For example, if our data had some personal identifying information, such as people name, social security, we would want to hide it from analysis. We can edit column properties, right? And we just did, right? How the column is summarized. Then you can handle missing values, right? How do we handle missing values? We can filter the rows with missing values. We can impute. We can set the missing value to the column average. Then you can set it to the predefined values. Like, for example, if claim type is not specified, we can treat it as other, all right? So that's a separate category. Then if you have a column where most of the rows are missing a value, you probably want to hide the whole column altogether. So in general, sometimes you could handle the outliers. Outliers are unusually large or unusually small values. You may add calculations, right? Then you may add data groups and the navigation hierarchies, right? We'll look at this. It's a lot, but don't be scared. We slowly go through that. All right, so I showed you how to hide the column, right? You just select, hide, show, right? So remember the difference between delete. If you delete it, the column will be, all calculations become invalid, right? You have calculations in data module. A hidden column can be used as part of calculations, but it's not visible to you directly when you do visualization, okay? Now, adding filters. Filter specifies the condition that must be met for the rows to stay, all right? So you need to build the expression to define the filter. Expression returns a value. You may use the operators, you may use the existing functions, and etc. The filter can be defined in a table level, which is you use multiple fields, right, as in a condition, or it can be specified on specific column. It's possible to define multiple filters on the same data, and there are two types of filters. Embedded filter is a filter that you define and it's applied immediately. Rows that do not meet the condition will be filtered out right away. Selectable filter is something that you can turn on and off. You can, for example, suppose that you want to look at the small vehicle, right? Personal vehicle, small claim type, right? For example, you want to look at specific claim type, specific accident type, right? For specific coverage. You have a lot of visualizations where you want to look at that specific subset of data. You can define the selectable filter and then apply as needed. You define it once in a data module, okay? So first we're gonna define the embedded filter, and here are the steps, but let's define a filter that keeps only the rows where effective due date is not missing. So how do we do that? First of all, see, that's a data set, right? I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna select, I need to select the filters, but for some reason, well, I have to sometimes, well, it's also available here, see this? It's also available here, but you click here and then you select manage filters. There we go, manage filters. Now, to add a filter, right? Well, in here, it shows select column, but I want to select via expression editor. I want to use expression editor. Now here, that should work. Now I click on add filter. This is my expression editor. What do I see in here is a list of columns in my data, right? So we want effective due date is not missing. So we're gonna find effective due date, and I'm gonna drag and drop this to expression, right? Then here as a list of what operators, right? I expand this, and operator is gonna be is not missing. So I'm gonna find it here, and I'm gonna drag and drop it here, okay? So that's a condition. Effective due date is not missing. Now what I need to do is I need to validate. See this? If you see this green check mark, it means the expression is valid. What you also have here is that's gonna be the pretty 5, it's just indentation, okay? And I is gonna show you the information about the current function. See, like it's not missing what it does. All right. Now I'm not done yet. I need to name my filter. I'm gonna call it what effective due date not missing. Okay. That's the name of the filter. Now I need to scroll down and I need to select OK. Clicking on X will not save the filter. I click OK and the data gets adjusted. I should not be seeing any records with missing effective due date, okay? So this is done. All right, so this filter is done. Next one is gonna be selectable filter. The filter is not gonna apply immediately, right? But right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this expression, right? So this here, it says if policy type contains the word personal, and if vehicle size contains the word small, right? So sometimes I want to look at my personal policy type for small vehicle, right? I want to look at this subset of cars a lot. So what we do here is we're gonna define the filter, but instead it's gonna be this filter right here, right here. I want to paste. Can I do that directly? No. I have to go to that little keyboard, right? Clipboard. Here, clipboard. I'm going to paste the expression in the clipboard, right? And then I'm going to paste it here. But this expression, it has an error. I left it intentionally to show you. So now what I'll do is I'm going to click on validate, and you're going to see the error. Okay, well, the error is this here, this quote. Microsoft Word quote is a problem, right? It's in here, this one. Oops, and this one. Oops. Here we go. So there was an error, right? Now I'm gonna validate it again. It should be fine right now. Validation result, it should be fine. Not sure why it's taken a while. Okay. Now
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No worries, go ahead.
So that single quote that you just used, was one of the curly single quotes from Microsoft Word?
No, it should not be
Versus,
quote.
okay.
No, it should be text, yes. Well, the problem is it was Microsoft Word. The problem was when I created the slides. I noticed that error, but I kept it just to show people what happens.
Right.
Yeah, if it's invalid. I just wanted to show people. Okay.
It looks like a single quote, but I guess if you copy it into like Notepad or something, right? That makes it different. Okay.
Correct. Notepad and TextPad. Yes. Same goes for the SQL. Like we're not using SQL here, but for your future courses, keep in mind. Okay. See this? So this is an expression, yes. But what I have to do here, I need to name it. Let's say personal policy for small vehicles. Okay. Excellent. So that's a name. Now what I have to do is I have to scroll and I'm gonna click on OK. Now what happens? Do you see this? The selectable filter is added as a column. It looks like a column. And we must have descriptive name, and I'll show you why later. But make sure it's a descriptive name. Now, I see the asterisk here. My latest change has not been saved. I'm gonna click on a floppy disk to save it. Okay? So I'm saved right now. I'm good to continue with the next subtopic. And we did a selectable filter, right? The data was not filtered yet, but we will tell when to apply. So here it comes. This is, we're gonna fill the missing income value with the column average, right? And just to save time, I'm gonna copy this. But this construct, if then construct is available in operations, okay? So what we're gonna do here, if income is missing, we're gonna set it to the column average. Actually, maybe I just showed you how to create this expression from scratch. So otherwise, we're gonna keep this as is, right? So what I have to do is I need to locate my income in here, and see this? I'm gonna go to the properties, and I'm gonna go to expression viewer edit. What I need to do here is this. In here, I have something called construct. Well, not constant. It's here, constructs, right? I expand it. I'm gonna be using if then else, right? If, what is a condition here? Income, right, is missing. If I want to, I can actually type it like this and it will pick up. If income is missing, right, then we're gonna do something. Otherwise, we're gonna keep income as is. What are we gonna do here in the expression? We're gonna take an average, right? So you can go here to the summaries and you can drag and drop average here for the expression, right? I'll have to delete this and average. Average what? Income, right? Income. There we go. Now let's validate. It's valid. And I'm gonna do this. I like to be indented, right? So if it's missing, then take average, otherwise keep as is. That's what I just did, all right? And I have to click on OK. I click on OK, it's saved, and I save this, right? There is a video where I show you how to set the column to the predefined value, okay? Now, this is filling in the missing values, okay? Now what we'll do, we're gonna get to create exploration right now. And in there, things can be covered in different orders, so. Okay, so this is data module. What I'll do right now, I'm gonna close that. I'm back on the welcome page. This was added to my recents here, right? I see this little tile, and also I see it here. This is in recents, okay? Now what I'll do, I click on the context menu. Oops, I did something close. By default, if I just click, it's just gonna open it to edit. I don't want to open it to edit. So what I do here, I click on this ellipsis and, well, not properties, but create exploration. This will create a brand new file, right? That's called the exploration workbook. What do I see in here? Over here, this is a list of my columns in the data that I'm using as a source, okay? What is this? This is a selectable filter that we created. If I did not use the descriptive name in here, I click properties, there is no way in the world to tell what this does without going back to data module. So remember, use descriptive name. You're gonna save yourself a lot, okay? So those here are the columns. Again, different icon for different data type, right? And again, you can edit column properties. Like for example, this is an income, right? I can go to properties and I can change how the column is being summarized. I want to look at average income, right? I can do that here. Okay, I can show you again. So let me close this. Let me close this again. I'll close this without saving. Close, close, close without saving. This is what you do. You can do it on this tile here. This is called context menu, and you can click create exploration. You can do it here. Or you can go to my content. You can find this file, data module, and you can click create exploration. You can do it here, or you can go to recent, do it here, right? Create exploration. Or you can go here, click new exploration, and then specify the data source afterwards. So there are 4 ways, right? What is exploration? This is a workbook. Exploration is a workbook that will contain a set of visualization cards. This is what we're going to do right now. We're going to create a workbook that contains a set of visualizations. That's what it is. But here, I see the fields, right? I see my fields, and I can change their properties. Some of their properties I can edit here. But remember, total claim amount, right? I change how the data is being summarized, and it's saved here. I can do the same thing for my income. If I look at the income, I want to look at average income. I don't want to add the sum, right? I want to do the average, right? Close. Okay. This change is available only in this file. If I was going to create new exploration workbook, I'm not going to see the change that I just made to income. Okay. If I want this to be visible everywhere else, I would have to edit the data module. So now it's a default name, asterisk, not saved. I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on the my content, and let's say a claims and weather exploration, right? Claims and weather exploration. Okay, I saved the file. What do I see here now? First of all, I can minimize this panel, right? Okay, here you probably want to play a bit with the zoom. No, you want to zoom out. Okay, here. This is a diagram. Each column is represented as a pin. You see almost all columns, not all. But what it's doing is when data was uploaded to the system, it was analyzing the relationships among columns. It decided that, in fact, I want to predict total claim amount, right? So this is a target, right? Field that I want to predict, field of interest. Here, it's suggesting that sometimes I want to predict also a monthly premium out there. It's quite possible. But total claim, I'm sticking with total claim. So every column is represented as a pin, and the target, right, whatever we're predicting, is represented as here as a pin in a dark color. I can click on this column here, and here it's going to give me the visualizations, suggested visualizations for that column. Like, for example, I can look at average total claim amount. I can look at the driver analysis, which tells us which fields, which combination of fields can be used to predict that value column. Well, what I can do here, I can click on this plus sign, and that will add this visualization card to my exploration workbook. See this? Those are the visualization cards, and this is the data, right? Visualizations, data. Okay? Close. All right, what I could also do you see this? The arc connects the column, and when I hover over the arc, it's going to tell me the relationship strength between two columns, between these two columns. Now, if I was going to do this, select this two, right? I selected two columns. It's going to adjust my visualizations based on the selection. So that's an employee status. It's going to show the average total claim amount per employee status. I can add that too. So that's one way to add visualization. You just go straight from suggested visualization based on this, right? So that's one way. And thus is just the relationship, just a diagram. It shows the relationship strengths among two columns, okay? And each column is represented as a pin, all right? So that's one way to add visualizations. Let's look at a different way. You can do this. See, those are the cards. And you can add new card. See, I'm going to go to new, and I can add a single card. Then I can click here, choose type, and I can choose the visualization type I want to add. I want to do this one right now, the spiral visualization. That's also called bullseye visualization. Those are called the data slots. You must specify the column here to see the visualization. So in my case, I want to look at the drivers, right, at the predictors for the total claim amount. So I have to take this and drag and drop to this slot, to the target. What do I see right now? Each pin represents the column or a combination of columns that are the drivers for the total claim amount. I can toggle here, uncheck the combination, uncheck the drivers. Here, see, each pin represents a driver. When I hover, I see the columns combination and the predictive strength. The drivers with the strengths under 10% are omitted. Okay. Now, the driver with the highest strength is a vehicle class. Very important. One-way driver with the highest predictive strength is going to be used as a first split in columns when you create the decision tree. When you create the decision tree, the column that is going to be used as a first split is a one-way driver with the highest strength. In this case, it's a vehicle class, right? Then I can toggle again, and I can see these guys here, right? For here, I can just see the strengths, okay? And this is just the combination of one or more fields. In this case, this combination is the strongest driver, all right? So that's what it is. This is the bullseye view, right? But earlier, you saw that there is a driver analysis diagram. I added it as a card. Driver analysis diagram is this bullseye diagram sliced, in other words. See this? You have this axis. And the driver with the strongest predictive strength is going to appear more closer to the right. All right? But one thing is that I cannot toggle here to see one way or the multiple ways, right? I cannot toggle. But what else is here? I can click on the driver and I can see the visualization for that specific driver, okay? It's gonna pick what it thinks is the most suitable data type. Like here, it is visualizing the income and the total claim amount, right? And here, it's gonna visualize, it's gonna be 3 columns, right? Total claim amount, and also it's picking up the claim amount and number of policies, okay? So it's gonna take, based on the data types, it's gonna try to choose what it thinks is the best visualization. But when you have more than 2 columns, the visualization is the decision tree, and I can click on this plus sign to add decision tree to my visualization. So here is a little bit not in order of the slide, since I hit decision tree. Why not to go and discuss it, right? So see here, those are your drivers, right? And you see the driver strengths, you've got the details. You're not gonna copy and paste the stuff to your paper, but that's something for you to read to get better understanding of what you see, right? So decision tree, close, and this can be closed too. Now, decision tree is just like a flow chart, and the nodes can be collapsed. I'm going to collapse it, and I'll show you how we traverse and what everything here means, right? Your assignment 3 will be totally on a lot on the decision trees, and there are also several videos. Trust me, if you watch them, guaranteed, right? You're gonna know what is expected for assignment 3, and students who watch them should get at least a B without a problem, okay? All right, so I'm gonna just go here, and what I'm doing is that I'm collapsing the tree, okay? I want to collapse the portion and focus only on what I want to discuss. So see here, this bar here represents all data that I have in the data set, right? When I hover, I should see, when I click on this, it should show me, well, when I click here, it should show me the number of records that it applies to. Come on, not cooperating, but it show me the number of records that it applies to and the average, okay? Next, what I do is I'm gonna say, okay, let's look here. What is a vehicle class? Remember, vehicle class was a driver, one-way driver with stronger predictive claim, with stronger predictive strength. Oh, there we go, it just worked. So see here, it shows me the percentage of data. In this case, it's all data here, right? Everything, all rows. And remember this, if your data set has more than 10,000 rows, it will do the random sample of 10,000, okay? Now that's a vehicle class. So I'm gonna look at vehicle class of the record, and the vehicle class is a two-door. And if the vehicle class is a two-door or four-door car, I take this pass, and I see here that this applies to 71% of my data, and I see the average total claim amount for that data, okay? But since I still have kind of like lots of records to which it applies, I want to look at it more, right? I cannot say at this point that average claim amount is $351. I need to look at it further. So now, next one is employee. Next criteria is employee. And suppose that my person is employed. If I hover, I see that 45% of my data is actually a two-door car, two-door or four-door car, and the person is employed. And that's an average claim amount. See, now it's dropping to 293. But I click here again, it will show me next condition, monthly premium, right? If it's less than 94, it's applicable to 37% of data, and that's an average. Then I look at the vehicle size, and then I reach the end. This is a terminal node. So then I take this color code, and I compare the color code here. See, the darker the color, the higher is the average, right? So here, if I click here, I also can see the average. Then I can also highlight the path. So the path that I take from the root to the leaf node, right, to the terminal node, it's a rule. So in other words, I'm saying if it's a two-door or four-door car and the driver or whoever covered on the policy is employed, and if the cost, monthly cost is less than $94 and vehicle size is medium or large, this is the claim amount that you're going to pay, total claim amount, okay? So that's just the predictors, right? So that's a tree diagram. The tree diagram here, this view shows you the rules, right? I can collapse again. This shows the rules. And I can also look at the luxury cars. It's only 4% of data, but it does not mean that it's not important. In fact, sometimes, well, you will be asked to do two models. Perhaps for this data, for the second model, you want to focus only on luxury cars. It's just an example, okay? But see, this is the total number of records and the 4% of data. And you can look at this more. In this case, it's next column is the next predictor is employment type. See, still, all right, employed. Then that's going to be the coverage, right? See, coverage type is basic or premium. And if it's premium, it's higher, see? You can traverse the same way, but there's a different view of this. It's called the sunburst visualization. Sunburst shows the percentage of data to which the rule applies. You see, that's my whole data. And here, if I click here, right, if I hover, actually, it shows that 91% of data is vehicle class 2-door or 4-door car, okay? And here I see average claim amount. So that's actually the visualization of the percentage of data to which the rule applies. And I can click here, this will expand, it's gonna add the net layer. Instead of expanding the node, right, I'm adding the next layer here. And when I click here, see this is the status employed, but I need to read the rule starting from here. So this is gonna be the percentage of rules where you have 2-door or 4-door car, right? And the person, the driver, cover driver is employed, right? So that's a percentage, you have 45%. And if you look at the tree diagram at the same time, the same nodes are expanded, okay? The same. And in the video, you're gonna see I'm looking at the two diagrams simultaneously. You see the rules and you see the percentage to which the rule applies. I can click here, that's gonna take me to the new level, see? So now, this here means that 37% of data where you have 2 or 4-door car, person is employed, and the monthly premium is less than $94, okay? Now, what you could also do is you could see the actual rules. You could read the actual rules, and you can filter it by predicted value, right? So I see this is the lowest predicted value, and it applies to 30% of records. If it's a 2-door car, or if it's a 4-door car, the person is employed, that's a monthly premium, and this is a vehicle size, right? So when I have a new car, I'm gonna try to see which rules fits my car into, right? And I'm gonna use that to estimate the average. So this is an average claim amount for the vehicles that fall under this rule. That's what basically is, okay? And remember this, if the rule applies only to small percentage of data, it does not mean that the rule is not important. It's still important, right? Or see this, so this is like less than 1% of data. Well, but still, you have some data, right? Oh, it's 39 records in this case. Okay, well, but you probably also want to look, see, this is 144, there is more, right? But see, you know that this rule is kind of like describes most of the vehicles in your data, right? But you just know it by looking at different visualizations, all right? You've got the sunburst, you have the diagram, and you have the rules. But for the diagram, well, you can also see all nodes, and you can filter only like top 5, bottom 5 as total claim amount. What else here? Well, you'll have to play. When you submit, when you take a screenshot for the assignment, you might want to hide stuff that you're not discussing. Show only what you discuss, okay? That will help you. Now, those are the insights, right? You've got the insights. And then you also have those properties, data slots. What you have here is the option to specify which columns you want to use as a driver. If I did not want to use effective to date as a driver, I can just go ahead and click it here, and I click OK. So that's another way to build the second model. You want to hide, you want to remove certain columns from drivers, right? Another way is you want to look at the subset of certain data. Perhaps you want to look at the luxury cars, right? Okay. And here you could apply local filters too, right? If you want. But I'm gonna go ahead and save this. Okay. So that's one way to add visualizations. Another way is this. I have my exploration workbook. So what is this here? This is the bar plot. I see the average claim amount, and this is an employment status, right? What I could do here, I see this called related. This gives me what visualizations I might be looking at based on what I'm looking at right now. So I can click on the total claim amount for marital status, and it's going to add the new card in here. It added the new card. Okay, somewhere I should see the new card. Not sure why it did not. Oh, it's this one. It's this one, see? And I have the detail inside here. And I've got the data slots. Then what I could also do is I can, if I want to, I can edit it. But if I scroll down, see this local filters? Remember earlier, we added the selectable filter. So I can drag and drop and I can apply it right here. This visualization, I want to see only for records with personal policy for small vehicles. See, there we go. I can apply this, okay? So I can do related visualizations. I can also see this. I can click here and I can change the visualization types that I'm using in here, right? Like I can do this visualization instead, right? If I don't like it, I can do undo. Save, right? I can save. What else you can do is, well, the main idea behind this was to be eventually to be able to ask questions in a natural language and for Cognos to answer it. So I go here. See this? I can do, well, I'm going to type data. It's going to show me the data that I have access to. Right? I click on here on the total claims amount. This is equivalent to type show source and then put the data name, the data module name. It's going to give me the list of columns. And for each columns, I'm going to see the properties, okay? Data type, whether the column has extremely large or extremely small values. Here in this case, it could show if the column is the skewed, right? Etc. See that? I click more. Then I can click on a specific column, like monthly premium auto. And what this does is it's going to show more details for that specific column, right? It's also going to give me some interested fields that are related to that column. Like, for example, vehicle class, right? Total claim amount. Then you can look at what influences that column. What influences monthly premium? I click here. See that those are the fields that influence. And this is equivalent to running this command, okay? So I can click here and it's going to give me a set of visualizations for those two columns. I can scroll through and I can pick the visualizations that I would like, right? So what I would like to do is here, I'm going to click on new, click single, and I can take this visualization from this guy and drag and drop. That's another way to add visualizations, okay? And I also got my insights here, etc. Okay. One thing that I cannot change is the appearance. I cannot change the headings, etc. Okay. Not in this one, not in exploration. All right. Then you can rerun the previous command just by clicking on this and click enter. This here you see the history, right? You see the whole history. And if you had more than one exploration workbook, when you are in the second exploration workbook, you see the history of commands that you ran in the first. And I created the detailed video on this guy assistant. See, from exploration, you can also access it here. Okay, so that's that. Then another way to add visualizations is this. I just click on new, single, and I can directly drag and drop. Okay, I can directly drag and drop my columns. I drag and drop state, and I can drag and drop the total claim amount, and it's gonna show the map, and it's gonna show the map, right? Each state is gonna have a different color, and the color code is gonna stand for average claim amount by state, something like that. But well, it's taken a while. If I don't like what I'm doing, I can always delete the visualization. Okay. See here, I got 6 cards. And I can use these arrows to navigate through my cards, or I can go back to card here and select the card I like, right? You can do that. So that's that. We're gonna talk about pins next time, because the idea behind pins is to add to bookmark visualization so that it's easier to reuse when you're doing a workbook. Okay? Now I'm gonna go back to slides, but remember, I'm going a little bit different order here. Well, that's an exploration interface, right? We talked about this. Okay, we talked about the cards and etc. I talked about adding visualizations, but we showed you how to do the suggested starting point, right? Then we explicitly chose the visualization type. We use assistant, we can drag and drop columns. Then we can also choose related visualizations, right? We can do that. I showed you relationship diagram, right? Remember, this is not a decision tree. This is not neural network. It just shows you a list of fields and the strengths of relationships, okay? And you can look at different fields of interest too. Now, those are the suggested starting points. We talked about it, right? You can add them as your visualizations. You can use embedded assistant. We talked about it, right? You can use the assistant to check the column information, and this is just what influences, right? You can look at that. Now, this is just, you can type directly what influences total claim amount, and it's going to try to find total claim amount in the data that you have access to. See, it shows you the claims and weather data sample has this column in those as the related columns, okay? And this is just to show relationship between columns. So you can do show total claim amount and coverage. You type this, then you get visualizations for show relationships, right? This assistant is really helpful sometimes, okay? Next topic is a navigation path. Some data are hierarchical. Well, let's look at the real example. You just finished assignment 1, right? I can look at overall assignment 1 average of all sessions, of all data 610 sessions, or I can drill down and look assignment 1 grade for specific sessions. So that's a hierarchy that I have, right? I can look by overall course, and I can look at the session inside the course to get the average grade, right? Then, in this case, I'm going to look at the state and different location type, location code within the state. Another good example of hierarchical data is the year, month, and day, or weekday, right? Sometimes I can do my summary by year, I can do my summary by month, or I can do my summary by specific date, right? So that's also the navigation path. So let's go ahead and build this. To do that, I'm gonna go here. This is my data. I'm gonna add navigation path. Take a note, I'm creating the navigation path in this workbook. It means that it will be unavailable in other explorations that I create from the same data. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So one way to do this is I can do the state, right, or state code, whatever you choose in this case. So I'm gonna go state, right? It shows I took state, and this is the original source of data was Excel file, right? Then what I'll do, I can do location code, put down here. So this is going to name it a state location code. Name is editable, right? And I have to click on OK to create it. So now, why do I do this? Well, let's click on the new visualization, new blank document. Let's look at the hierarchical structure. And when you choose the visualization type, you probably want to pick the tree map this time. And I'm interested, let's say I want to look at a percentage of my customers in each state. So what I have to do here is this. I'm going to select this state to show at the hierarchy, right? This state is going to be area hierarchy. And the size is going to be, I want to do the number of people. How do I get number of people? Remember, the customer, how is this customer being summarized? This is count distinct. Well, because I don't want to see the number of claims, right? A customer may have more than one claim. So I'm going to keep it as distinct. It's going to give me the number of what? Customers. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to drag this. So this is going to be the number of customers. Notice that I have the states, several states. I click here, it shows me the data that is being visualized. So here I see the state name and the number of customers in that state. So suppose that I like the Missouri. I can right click here on the Missouri, and this is an option to drill down. I'm going to drill down to see the location codes within this Missouri. So now this shows just for Missouri. See, the state is Missouri. This is a location code, and this is a number of people in that location code. Okay, so that was the hierarchy. But for you, I created a video where I show the 3 levels. Okay, the hierarchy is made up of the 3 levels, columns. Okay, so click here, you see the whole data, and this is data that is being visualized. Now what you could also do, see this, click here, right click, and there is an option to here, go back, right? I go back. There we go. I could look at another state if I like to, right? But I'm gonna click save instead for right now, because a lot of topics to cover. So this is just an example of the drill down, right? Okay. Next topic is calculation. What's a calculation? It's an expression that we can use to create another column. So now what we'll do is we're going to close this data exploration, and we're going to go back to our data module. This is a data module. I'm going to click on it to edit. It appears, remember, it appears on recent, and you can also access it from my content, right? So first, I'm going to stick with a simpler calculation. I have monthly premium amount. Suppose that I want to calculate annual premium amount, right? So I can do this. Remember this. Calculations, we have 2 types of calculations. First type is an embedded calculation. If calculation is embedded, it's added as a column to your data. And you're going to have a value stored in that column for each row, right? You also have a standalone calculation that could appear up there. And I'm going to create it today. And you also have a video with another example. But first of all, first, let's go ahead and create the new calculation. And I'm going to call it annual, right? I'm going to call it annual premium. So one way to do it is this. I can, if I want to, I can find monthly premium author, and I can click on this here, and I can click on here. See this create calculation, right? I like to use the calculation editor, and I'm going to call it annual, right? And guess what I need to do? Annual premium out, and oh, nice. I can get the spell check here, right? Annual. Okay. Now, guess what I'm going to need to do? I'm going to take monthly, and I'm going to do what? Multiply by 12, right? Let's see. Oh, multiply by 12, right? Always validate, make sure this is valid. It is. And now I'm going to save it. What it's going to do is it's going to add a column in the front, and it's going to call this column as annual, right? That was too easy, wasn't it? So now we're gonna do another one, and we're gonna calculate for each column, for each row rather, we're gonna, I want to have another column where in each row I show what is the average income for that specific state. So like, for example, see this, I have the first customer, and the first customer is in Kansas. For that customer, I want to show what the average income in Kansas is. This is in Nebraska. I want to show what average income in Nebraska is, right? So the way to do this is, well, I could go ahead and I can find my column called income, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and select create calculation. I like to use calculation editor, of course. And in here, let's say average, I'm gonna call it average state income, right? And what you want to do is in here, you go to functions, you go to summaries, you drag and drop average, right? And then here you go back to the columns. The column is going to be income, right? Average income. And you have to use this. You need to specify for, and then for column that you want to look at. In this case, I want to look at the average per state, right? If I don't see the column right away, I can do the search. So I want the state code perhaps, right? Average income per state code. I did that. I validated it, right? It's passed. Now, what I could do, I scroll down, I click OK, and this will add a column in the front, okay? This is the income, but I go here, and this is the average, okay? And if I wanted to, I could also do the rounding, right? I'll keep it as is for right now, but I can round it. Oh, it got sorted for me, see? But I can resort by another column. I can sort by another column just to show you that it shows different value for a different state, okay? It shows different value for a different state. Now, suppose that for some unknown reason, I need to have the overall average income, just overall average income. Am I going to store it with each column? I don't think so, right? How do I round? Okay, I can go here. So see, this is the column, right? What I need to do is I need to click on edit. I need to edit the calculation, right? See this, I go to edit calculation. Then in the functions, I have to find, there is a function called round somewhere. Let's click here. Let's see what happens. Round. Oh, there should be a function called round, custom function round, see? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drag and drop this round. Oops, for some unknown reason, it did not. Okay, let's try this. Let's see what happens, okay? I'm gonna see what happens. All right, so what I'll do is I'll do this. I'll first think validate. Oops, the expression is not valid, see? Let's do this. Let's delete this. Let's try straight to type round. Round here, round. Okay, I'll do this now. It should work. Let's try. Let's run this. Validate. Okay. Now what you could do is you could also see this little eye. You can preview. Okay. So see this is rounded income now. That works, right? If I was not sure, I could also check the information page for this page. Okay. Okay, sure, no problem. No problem. So see this here, this is information page. You take the actual column name and here is the number of decimal places. If it's omitted, it means that I don't want to see any decimal places here. So see, this is rounding. I'm gonna keep it rounded then. Okay. Now I scroll and I want to save it. So I'm gonna click on OK. All right, cool. Now what I want to do, if I want to keep overall average, I don't have to store it with all rows, right? Instead, I can go here and I can add calculation here. Calculation name is going to be average income, right? Income. Okay. And what I do right now is expression summaries, and it's going to be the average, right? And here, I'm just going to find the income. And I'm going to just drag and drop. Where is it saying income? Here it is. I'm just going to drag and drop. That is it. But what is this? Well, I'll tell you, because I'm defining the standalone right above. There is a file. There was a file called claims and weather. This is an Excel file. And the Excel file has a tab called this Pacific West campaign copy. So this was the original file. This is a tab name, and this is a column name, and not file. So now I'm going to scroll. See, because see here, this is just one value. I want to save my storage. I want to store it only once, right? It's here, right here. Okay? So that's calculation topic. You're asked to create calculation, I believe. The assignment does not specify which type, because at that time, we weren't aware that there are different types. I discovered it. Okay. Now, the thing is, data group. What's a data group? Well, sometimes I could have my column skewed, and I want to look at column ranges. Probably example you're familiar with is your grade. When you receive the grade for assignment, you get a numeric grade like 90%, 95%, 80%, right? But UMGC academic records takes the letter grade, ABC. So this is data group, right? I'm saying if my grade is 90 to 100, the group label is an A. If my grade is 80 to 89, the group label is a B, right? Similar here, you can define the groups for the numeric and for categorical also. So for the numeric, by default, it's going to do 5 bins, and it's going to do the boundaries for you by default. And you can always edit the default, right? And this is going to add, for numeric, it's going to add 2 columns. So take a look. I'm going to select the column that I want to bin, right? And let's do the income, all right? So what I'll do here, I click here, and I'm going to select create data group. See this? It's going to call the column called income group. And I have several categories here, right? So see, this is, the top one is higher than this one, this amount. So suppose that I had a billionaire, I have a couple records that are billionaires. Those records are outliers, right? So in this specific case, it's just gonna put them into higher than this number category. And I can add a group if I want. I can reduce the number of groups, and I can change the boundaries, okay? I can change the boundaries, I believe, just here. See those arrows? I can use those to change the boundaries, okay? Then also here, you can specify how to group the blanks. So this is another way to handle missing values. If you're doing the binning, you can specify where the blank values go, okay? So this is a numeric I'm going to create, and this is going to add 2 columns, and 1 column is hidden. This is a bin, right? If I go here, it's just a bin number, and this is a bin label. Bin label is visible to the user for analysis. Bin number is not, but it's there, okay? Save. And if you are interested, well, you can do, well, there is a way to edit this and to see the actual expression. Properties. Well, when I click on expression, it's going to give me the code. This is a code that the program actually generated for this. It generated the case statement here. For the bin, then I can click here, and I can do the properties here. See this? I can do view and edit, and this is the code that was generated for this expression. Okay, this is just the code that it built for me. Alternatively, I can write my own code, and I created a video for you with a case statement where I wrote my own code to create the group. Our next thing is that sometimes you may have different car models, perhaps, right? Or may have too many car policies, and you want to combine them into groups. So now what I'll do is I'm gonna go, I believe the column that I'm using here is well, that's numeric. I'm using the categorical, and I'm used a policy. So let's go to I'll find the policy column, and I'm going to create the policy group. So this is a policy, create data group. Okay, this is categorical. So for categorical, I don't have the groups by default. What I do have here are the values that I have. So I have corporate L1, corporate L2, etc. What I want to do is I want to put all corporates in the new group, all personal in another group, etc. To do this, I need to create the new group. And I'm going to call this group corporate. See, corporate. Now what I need to do is I need to add my values to that group. I click on this value, and I click on the arrow. That will add the value to this group. Okay? Next thing, I need to add another group, and another group is going to be personal, right? And what I'll do now, I'm going to add those values to that group. Click, right? And you could also do the search. If the list is too long, you have an option to run the search in here. Okay, so now yet another group, and it's going to be the special. So this is a special value, and I'm going to add this to the special group. Okay. Okay. So here you could also specify what happens if you have a row with the values that didn't exist before. Okay. So now this is good. I'm going to click OK, and it adds one column, just one in this case. For categorical, it's going to add just one. Right? And I'm going to scroll. The column is added all the way to the beginning. Right? Then I can look at the properties, and you're going to see the code. This is a code that was generated for me. Okay? Now I have to save this. Now I'm going to, I believe, let me see to make sure the calculations are done. Yes. So now what I'm going to do is, see this? I created the group, the calculations in here, right? Remember earlier, I added the hierarchy in exploration. I don't see it here, right? Because I added it to exploration. And when I create new exploration, I'm not going to see that either, right? So now, note what we just did, right? We did some calculations, right? It's here. What I'll do now, I'm going to close this data module, and I'm going to reopen the exploration. See, I'm going to reopen the exploration. And what you will see is, I click here on the Data Explorer. Well, do you see this? What is this? This is a standalone calculations that we added. Those are the data groups that we added, right? Okay, those are the calculations that we added. But note that the bin label was hidden. If I go here to see all my data, I'm not going to see the hidden columns, right? Because hidden columns are not available for users to use in visualizations, but they're available in calculations, okay? All right. And another little topic that I need to cover is something called comparison. So you have a set of visualizations here. This is a total claim by employee status. What I can do right now is go to data slots, and let's see the filter. I'm going to remove this filter. Oops, I have to do the delete. Oops, Did I delete? Oops. It deleted the visualization. So let's undo. Okay. Well, what I have to do is I have to go back here to the local filter. Then I have to click here and I have to click remove. I have to do that, okay? Now what I'll do, I'm gonna go back to my data and I'm gonna pick gender. Gender. Okay, this is gender. I'm gonna drag and drop gender and I'm gonna put it local filter. Here, you have to make sure that this data slot is highlighted. There we go. And I want to select the female. Okay. Now what I can do, I'm gonna go to my cart. I'm gonna make a copy of this. Click here, duplicate, duplicate. I go to this copy and I wanna go here and I want to select gender for the male. So I click on a filter. I don't want to remove filter, but I want to modify the criteria. So here I select male. Okay, I've got these two visualizations. What I can do right now, I can select both. Then I can go here and I'm gonna do compare and it's gonna show two side by side, see? Well, why is it useful? Sometimes I want to see if the gender has an impact on the total claim amount by employee status, right? Does it have an impact, right? So somewhat, right? And for which employee statuses does it have impact, for which it doesn't? It has little bit for the last one, right? And see here, I hover. Do you see that little line, right? You can just compare. See, that's for comparison. Okay. So we did that. Slides go a little bit in a different order. Here it's showing now the driver analysis that we covered, right? Remember, one-way driver with the highest predictive strength is going to be used as a column, as a force splitting column for decision tree, right? Driver is a predictor, okay? It's a combination of predictors that you use to predict the target column, right? Or also target is also called column of interest. Multiple way to call it. So the visualization basically here is it's a bull's eye. Remember, the closer the pin to the center, the stronger is the strength. And the predictors with a strength less than 10% are omitted. We talked about that, right? We talked about this here, edit drivers. You can select which columns you don't want to use for the drivers, right? Just by clicking on this ellipses and eliminate what you don't want to use, right? We talked about the driver analysis. Well, you can look at it as a sliced view of the bull's eye diagram. And it's going to show the predictive strength on a scale, see? The closer it is to the right, the stronger is the prediction. And see this, the color indicates the number of drivers, right? The size is going to be the number of, the size is here, it's the strength, it's in this case, the size is number of fields, I believe. Okay. Then another thing is the chart type, right? You can add the chart to your visualizations, right? And the chart type it will pick based on the data type and the number of columns you're looking at. For three or more, always decision tree, all right? Well, decision tree, one thing that I did not talk is a little bit about the stopping criteria. Each leaf node cannot have less than 25 data rows, okay? If the splitting results in less than 25 rows, the nodes are combined. The tree is limited to 36 nodes. It's another thing to keep in mind, right? And the color code here shows the average value. The darker, the higher. Now, the tree is big, right? If it does not fit on the screen here, you see this little bar here, little rectangle. Minimap, it shows which area of the tree you currently look at, okay? So, and this is just the interpretation. It's insights in natural language. Remember, I mentioned the insights in English sentences, right? So that's what it basically is, okay? And you can look at the decision rules. So the whole idea is that what happens if I have a new claim, right? And I know the vehicle information, right? I might know like location code. I might know customer monthly premium, etc. So there is some information I know. I use the decision tree. I traverse my decision tree to estimate the total claim amount. That's the whole point here. Okay? Sandboards, we talked about this. I just have it in different order. This is just the comparison part. This is not the comparison visualizations that you're asked to do in the first assignment. What you're asked to do in the first assignment, last question, is this. You're going to go click on new card, blank, and you're going to choose one of these. See this little thing? You're going to choose one of these and visualize any fields you want and explain what the visualization shows, right? Important, your assignment 2 is not visible until you submit this little assignment. Why? Because we want to make sure that you learn how to access the application first. Trust me, I was there. It's very tempting to do the assignment with higher value on the grade first. It's very tempting. But suppose that you jump on assignment 2 and you have not learned how to access the application. You're gonna burn a lot of time, right? So to your benefit, assignment 2 will be visible only after you submit this small assignment, okay? It's not to hurt anybody, but it's to help you. And another thing is that do yourself a favor, submit this as soon as you can, okay? After this, try to log into your account. I created all accounts this week, so try to log in. Make sure that you see these guys here, because several things happening. One thing is that you have access to your account. Another thing is this is controlled through the group membership. You need to make sure, we need to make sure that you are added to the data 610 group. That way you can see all of these guys here. If you don't see, well, you submit the case and it will be directed to me. No brainer, very easy fix, okay? Once in a while, it happens to 1 or 2 people. Well, yeah. I try not to. I do testing as much as I can on my end, okay? All right. So now I'm going to take questions. Please ask your questions. I'm going to see the chat. Would you please send us the link to the video? Sure. It's in the slides. The slides. Let me see. It's right here. vdi.umgc.edu. Well, this is just that. You're going to get a copy of these slides, right? Okay? Yes, you're going to get these slides. Yes. Well, basically what was happening a long time ago, as I was doing this, I was taking notes, right? Those slides are the notes. And I said, okay, well, why not to give the students a copy of the notes? Then they can look at that, refer to that later, maybe some room for further exploration, right? There are a lot of formulas in there, so we can be talking until tomorrow morning, seriously. But if there's anything in specific that you want to see, okay, submit request and I'll create the video. Most videos were created in response to students' questions. So customer service here, okay? All right. Can we use what? Let me see. Hold on, I need to scroll up. Can we use any browser? Well, that's a good question. Google Chrome should work. This one is IE. It's working. Sometimes, if it doesn't work in one, try in the other. Okay. So it should work. but I cannot speak for any because there are too many unpopular browsers, right? But right now I'm using Internet Explorer. What browser do you have? What browser do you have in mind? Because I know that on Chrome it should be working too. Okay. Oh, okay. You click on a link, it did not find the app because, well, the link takes you to VDI. Okay, then you're gonna see the app. Oh, it's signed out right now. I have to sign back in. Ouch, I hate when it does it. Okay, well, I'm gonna try. Well, I have to do the VDI. Let's see. umgc.edu. It signed me out. Let's see. Okay, good. Okay. See, it's here. You have to see it here. It should be. If not, then you submit the ticket and it has to be escalated. The TA has to escalate this because, first of all, what happened was you were added to the Citrix. It's sitting on Citrix. So, well, another team controls the Citrix. I control the Cognos account directly. Well, see this? Then you're going to click here and it will launch the app. Okay? If you don't see that, it could show on the apps. Well, it has to be somewhere. Okay? It must be somewhere. Excellent. Thank you, Kelly. There are multiple places you can do. User ID is going to be this. I'm gonna go back to here. Well, okay. User ID. Well, you know you have a student email that ends with student.umgc.edu, right? The email that you use to access your learning system, your class, right? The first portion of that email is your username and password is the welcome. See this? This is a welcome. But instead of letter E, you put number 3. Then you put an exclamation point. See? That's how you log in. Everybody's password is the same, right? Username, for example, if your email is msmith@studentumgc.edu, msmith is going to be your username. It's usually the first letter of your first name, your last name, and then maybe some numbers, okay? So I need to make sure that I did not miss anything to go back to the chart. We showed the rounding. Yes, you're going to get the copy of these slides. Okay, we talked about the browser. Okay. Additional videos, where the additional videos are located. If you go back to the classroom, in the classroom, there is a link to the preview. Let's see if I have it here. I don't. Oh, I usually do. So sad. I usually have the link in here. Oh, here it is. There we go. This is a link. Excellent. I have this link in the slides. This is a link, and there are videos. It's more than 19 now, but, well, there are videos in here. Okay? This is a link. You're going to have the slides, and this link is also in the classroom. Okay? Charles, did I answer your question about the user ID password? I hope I did. Can I see what? Oh, you cannot see what you cannot see. Well, that's a link, and you could not see the shortcut. Okay. Well, you need to look in the apps. It should be there because it has to do with your enrollment. Okay, when you were enrolled, what happened is that you enroll in a course, and the other teams, they have a script that goes to enrollment records and picks up people who are enrolled and adds them to the Citrix. That's what they do. What I did was I went to Cognos and I created your Cognos account. Okay, so those are the 2 steps that are done by different teams. I manage Cognos more. Okay. Okay. You are unable to log in with credentials provided. Just please submit the ticket. I'm going to look at it. Okay. Because, well, the password is welcome, but you have to capitalize W instead of letter E. You need to put the number 3. and then the exclamation at the end. It's not your email, it's a student ID. So you have your student email that ends with student.umgc.edu. You take the first part. If you are unable to, okay, I'm gonna take a note and I'm gonna take a look at your account. But I created all of them. Okay. So well, I'm gonna look at it after this session. Just I'll make sure to take a look at your account to see what's going on. Okay. Maybe I need to reset the password or something like that. Okay. Well, because the password is welcome and the credentials is your first part of the email. It's not your email address. Very important. Okay. Well, so you want to make sure that you can, you know, okay. So more questions? And just I'm going to reset your password. I'm going to look into it. I promise I'll do it as soon as we're done. You're all good? Anybody else? Let's look and go.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, going once. Yeah, password is welcome. Are you still able to log in? Oh, you're all good. Excellent.
Yes.
Cool, good. Because then I was going to do is I was going to try. Well, I have a list of the IDs. I was going to take an ID and try on your behalf. That would be my next step. Okay, excellent. So, anything else you want to hear? I know we talked a lot. So, and remember this, go to the calendar. In 4 weeks from today, we have another session at the same time. And in time. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I'm unable to access my account. I used the ID and the password.
You need to let me know your name.
Aisata.
Huh?
Aisata Sise.
Where did you set this?
I try accessing the accounts, but could not.
Yeah, but I need to know your name. How can I check?
Aisata Sise. ISATASESAY.
Well, do you mind to put the ticket in? Because then, or put it in the chat at least. Put in the meeting chat. Then I'm gonna copy. Yeah, because well, remember the first part is your part of the email, you student email. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna look at it after this because I don't want people to see the admin. Okay.
Thank you.
It's where you can. I don't want to confuse people with the admin side of this story. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? But I'm gonna check. Okay, and I'll make sure. Okay, but please make sure password is case sensitive. Check what you're putting in. Okay. So if there are no questions, I'm gonna end the recording and your instructor is gonna get the recording. It might not be tonight, it depends because see, this is almost 2 hours long, right? It takes a little bit of time for the server to process the recording. So I don't know if I'm gonna get it tonight or if I'm gonna get it a few hours later. We'll see. Okay? When I have it, your teacher will have it, and then you have it. Okay? All right, everybody. Good luck. Enjoy using the application, and thank you very much. Okay, I'll see you in 4 weeks. Okay? Sure. All right. Stop the recording. Where is it? Here we go.